somebody who's in the fog, not quite sure what it is that you need to do to implement ISO 9001 or implement ISO 45001 or implement ISO 27001 or implement any of the other international management system standards or management system specifications. In this webinar, we're talking about what to start with, how to start, what's involved, and find your X factor. So welcome to Best Practice, welcome to the last webinar for 2018. And I'm Kobe Simmet, I'm the CEO here at Best Practice. And for those of you that are joining us again, thanks very much for coming online. For those of you that are watching this webinar after the event, you can still comment below. So, hello to everybody that's joining us. Give me a quick shout out. Tell me where you're watching from. I love to see and hear where everybody's watching from and joining us from all over the world. Thanks for joining us. And this is the last one. So here in Australia, we're about to go into the festive season. It's summertime, it's warm, the beach is great, the ocean's fantastic. So I'm looking forward to taking some time off and resting and recharging so that we can come back into 2019 absolutely charged and ready to go. So I thought it was a really great opportunity to talk about how to actually get started. If you've already got a management system, now's the time to really think about how to reset. So I've looked through the people that have registered for the webinar, and so I'm going to talk to you guys. There's some of you guys know me on a first name basis and spend time with me. Some of you have never met me. So we've got the comments section there. Say hi, let me know that you're watching, let me know that you've come online. Again, if you're watching this after the event, it is being recorded. And if you do see it on our YouTube channel after the event, then say g'day, say hello. G'day is a hello in Australian, so let me know where you're watching from. And also ask any questions. So I do see all the comments on all of the videos that we produce here at Best Practice that are on our YouTube channel. So please comment, and if you've got any questions. So hello Hugh, I see you're outside the studio. I see you, Hugh. Thanks for the hello. We've got a few of our team members today watching from our office. Hi Faith, let me know where you're watching from. So thanks for joining us, everybody. So okay, let's get into it. What I'm going to talk about today is I guess there's been a few comments. I've been out on the road, I've been doing a lot of driving, I've been doing a lot of client visits over the last couple of weeks. Actually, the last 8 weeks has been really hectic for me. And I guess we were thinking about what to talk about with this webinar. We've been planning the topic for a number of months. We produced the date for the webinar and the concepts of the webinar when we produced our magazine. So in fact, we were talking about this webinar 6 months ago in terms of preparing for it. What I really wanted to think about was, well, I got a comment yesterday, as recent as yesterday, which is only about 10% of the new standards talk about improvement, and we've been talking about this, and I think that what I'd like to do in this webinar is really correct people's thinking. And I want to give you a term that I'd really like you to postinate, is my latest word, postinate, or think lots about over your festive season break, and then as you're starting to think about how do I clear the fog. These systems, these standards are all about defining and implementing and maintaining your organization's self-improvement system. It's not about writing lots of policies and procedures and they get done once and locked away and put on a shelf. This is all about thinking about how do we constantly monitor and check how we're tracking with a view to identifying opportunities for improvement and then coming up with plans and programs and schedules and lists and action plans to improve ourselves. And I think that's where we've been lost, and certainly with operational people in organizations that I've been speaking to over the last couple of months, it's still a common misconception that this is about bureaucracy, it's about having processes to follow and boxes to tick and all those sorts of things. That's not correct. Those boxes to tick and processes to follow were the outcomes of identifying issues we needed to manage. And so for those of you out there that are working in organizations that are mentally challenged by ISO systems being bureaucracy, and that's something we put on the side and we try to ignore, please share this video with people that need to hear this message that ISO standards and everything that we're talking about here at Best Practice, it's all about looking at your self-evaluation system, and it's no different to a high-performance team in sporting, in its football or baseball or any of those high-performance sports, or tennis or any of your favorite sports, that the team goes onto the game and plays, and it might get video and there's coaches and there's high performance people. They're reviewing and then they're providing suggestions so that in the future you can hope to win, and you're going to improve the play run, the run, the tactic, the play, the strategy, whatever it might be for the game. And ISO systems are all about the business strategy for the game, so that we can get better and better at what we do, and the ultimate goal is to win. And so if you are somebody who is motivated, excited and inspired to improve safety outcomes, to improve profit outcomes, to improve customer satisfaction outcomes, to improve environmental outcomes, if you're someone that's passionate and inspired about that, and you take the time to learn these concepts, learn the self-evaluation cycle, the self-evaluation system that's embedded in this system, and I will show you that. And if you choose to invest your time learning and growing and maybe spending time and spending resources with us here at Best Practice, I guarantee that I will partner with you on the business improvement journey. In 2019, I'm going to level up. I'm going to increase the amount of content we're producing. I'm going to increase the quality of content we're producing. And I guarantee that I'm constantly thinking about how we can be more effective and more influential in these mediums, in these formats, to help you and help your team implement and benefit from the self-improvement systems that we talk about, and see those amazing outcomes for your organizations. That's what I want for you guys. I want that for you guys. That's why I'm excited. That's why I produce so much content. That's why I do this stuff. And we do a lot of this stuff for free. And you choose to also take the opportunity to look into our training store, to purchase our courses, to purchase the services that we offer. I guarantee that I will partner with you on that business improvement journey, and I will do everything that I possibly can to help your organization to achieve those outcomes that you wish for and that you desire. So I want to put it out to everybody. I'm looking for invitations for coffee and lunch. So grab the opportunity, send me a message. I'm going to be traveling internationally in about March, April, May of 2019. If you want me to come and see you want to buy me lunch, you want to buy me a coffee, you want me to come and see you, I want to see what you're up to. I want to learn about your projects, because that gives me inspiration for more concepts, for more content, for more things to talk about, and it gives me the opportunity to learn. What do you guys want help with? What do you need help with? What are the challenges in your organization? And I can start to think about how my organization and the team that I lead can help you guys. Now, some of that might be commercial, some of it might be free, but I'm looking for invitations. I know you guys are proud of what you're doing. You want to bounce a few ideas off me, reach out to me, send me a message, comment below the video. I'd love to see you guys. So, if it's here in Australia, or if it's internationally, I'll be in the United States in, somewhere around about April, May in 2019. And equally, I'm going backwards and forwards all of the time. I just want to give a big shout out to Marina. She's here in our office, and she's heading up the Next Practice operation in the US. So you can reach out to Marina. You can comment against this video. And if you're watching from the US, or you're seeing this video and you're in the US and you want some support from our team, we do have people stateside. So then, howdy Marina. Yes, there you go. So Sydney Olympic Park. Hello Samantha. G'day Faith. So anybody else watching, give me a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. So and thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it. So you can comment beside. I can see the comments on the screen. Jack's given me a dashboard today. We're going to change it up. So again, I'm in front of the green screen. We've got the stuff happening behind us, and we're going to change it up again. So I've got a surprise for you shortly. We've got another camera. We've got some great stuff happening today. So let me know where you're watching from, and also that's the place to ask questions. I can see the questions when they come through. Little bit of a delay, but I'll see your questions. So let me know where you're watching from, and if you're watching after the event, let me know there too. Okay, a quick bit of stuff just here. So Best Practice, a large part of what Best Practice does is certification or we're a registrar if you're watching from the US, and those are an example of our certificates. So black is ISO 27001, yellow is workplace health and safety or occupational health and safety, red is quality, and green is environmental management. And what that's all about, I guess people do, miss the point. So I'm gonna put it out. This is my opinion, and my opinion is founded on my 20 years of experience in this industry. ISO 9001 is all about delivering amazing customer outcomes, amazing quality, amazing services for your customers and clients. And when we do that, when we not only meet, but when we exceed our customers' expectations, they start to rave about us. And they rave about you because you're becoming a brand. And so the ultimate intent, the ultimate measure, if you like, in modern times, like right now, The ultimate measure of the success of your quality management system is your Net Promoter Score. Have a look at Net Promoter Score, do some Googling, find out about it if you don't know what it is, but it's that one question. How likely are you to refer products and services to friends and family? And so when you start thinking about your organization, the people, the stakeholders you're involved in, the people that you're working with, right now in current corporate world, the most trendy thing to do to measure customer satisfaction is to measure Net Promoter Score. So I think that's worth going and learning about. And that's not about sending out a 20-question customer satisfaction form to find out customer satisfaction. Because if you send me a form, I'm going to really struggle to find the time to fill that out unless I'm really pissed off or unless I'm really, really happy and I love the brand. So you're going to get really pissed off people, which there's an opportunity to help and fix, or you're going to get, you're going to get your fans. And so I really want you guys to be thinking about what's the 5-star version of the situation? What's the 5-star services that we can provide for all of our stakeholders and putting that out there as a benchmark? From a workplace health and safety perspective, which is the yellow one just here, from workplace health and safety perspective, that's about amazing outcomes from a health and safety perspective. It's about eliminating hazards and risks and preventing incidents and injuries. From an environmental perspective, it's about starting to think about how we as people and humans contribute our impacts to the planet and starting to really think about how we can do that. And the great thing about this medium for me is we will see about 300 people approximately might watch this video in the next 24 to 48 hours after it's recorded, and that saves me traveling, carbon footprint of my travel, for example. And information security, it's about protecting data and information security and that sort of stuff. So let me know where you guys are watching from. Hello to everybody that's commented so far. So I love to hear where everybody's watching live from. So those are our certificates. If I move out of the way over here and just show you guys, that's what our training academy looks like. So we have got, for those of you who are really inspired to learn more about the antenna standards and you want my assistance to go like section by section through a standard, there's some great courses there available in our training academy to purchase. From time to time we do specials. So look out for those specials from time to time, but get yourself. So there's a big blue button, bestpracticeeducation.com.au is the website. There's a big blue button. If you haven't already signed up, hit that big blue button, put in your email address, and then you'll get on the mailing list and you'll see what's coming out from time to time. We produce tons of great content and you can also go and pick up other bits and pieces of free information, like for example, the Christmas edition or the summer edition of Best Practices Magazine Certified. Okay, in the back of the magazine, just to point out to everybody, are the dates over here. The dates are here, this side of the webinars. Shout out to Lucidity Software. Just want to say thank you very much for continuing to support our magazine. And the other person, just quickly while we're talking about people, the other person I want to shout out to is Dane's Coffee. So Graham this morning from Dane's Coffee is our beautiful, amazing smelling fresh coffee beans. So the Danes.com is it danes.com.au? Sorry, it's danes.com.au. There it is. And Graham was kind enough, and it didn't actually work with our cameras, so I'm sorry, Graham, but he was kind enough to give me a T-shirt. So today we're sponsored by, where's the logo? Where is it? Let me find it. Hang on a second. Here we go. Dane's Coffee. So we're going to go and check out their website and their web store in a minute. So if you're looking for gifts for the coffee addicts in your family over Christmas, I don't get anything financially out of this, by the way, but we want to say thanks to Danes for looking after us, and the coffee that I'm drinking right now is amazing. It's freshly roasted, it's freshly ground, and I'm high on caffeine at the moment, so thanks very much to Graham and the crew over at Danes Coffee. What I hope to do in January is to record an interview with Paul, the founder. The Danes Coffee are the Australian champion roasters. So they've won, they're undisputed best roasters of coffee here in Australia, and we are pretty fussy about that. I'm getting the wind up from Jack to move on, and I will do that. Thanks, Jack. So thanks to Lucidity Software for continuing to support the printing of the magazine and reaching out. If you're looking for management system software, then reaching out to the guys down at Lucidity Software and having a chat with them. Tons of great stuff going on there. So Rob and the crew doing a great job. So we'll put some links below the video that we always get in trouble for forgetting to put the links below the video. So we'll drop a few links into the description below this video after it's been recorded. Okay, now Jack wants me to get on with the content, talk about the X factor, all that sort of stuff. Okay, I want you guys to really start to think about what it is we're doing here, like what it is. And I see you guys getting all caught in the fog, like I don't understand the standard and I can't understand, what's going on, and I'm really, really struggling with, just like how do I implement a management system? I think that we find ourselves with an expectation that we've got to write lots of things down. We've got to write lots of policies, lots of procedures. And for those of you that have been following this channel for a while and everything that we're doing here at Best Practice, you hear me talking about don't write documents, don't write documents. And an interesting statement from one of my business partners last night. We're having a catch up with our business coaching team, Next Practice. If you haven't checked out Next Practice, go do that. And Nick was saying, there was a conversation that took place in a workshop with Marina and Nick yesterday and a client, where they were talking to the client. They were saying to the client, look, if you're happy to use a smartphone to talk through a process and video a process and actually post that so that your team can follow that, then that's a defined process. It's recorded on video, it's saved as a file, it meets all the intent, it can be constantly improved. So, we're getting to a point in time where you have these great devices in your pocket and they can be used to video a process. Have the leader of the business describe their expectations of what the process flow steps are, or what the procedural steps are, the work instruction steps. You can do a screen recording of something on your desktop for how to go about doing things. Every day, hundreds of thousands of people are going to YouTube, millions of people are going to YouTube for guidance and instruction on how to do things. That's why we do what we do here at Best Practice on YouTube. So I think it's important to be thinking about that. Now, what I wanted to talk about was the fog. Yesterday in a meeting, a gentleman that I was meeting with made a comment that only about 10% of the current standards are improvement related. Now, I dispute that. When we have a look at Annex SL, and I said I would talk about Annex SL, I want you to have a think about that. The headings in Annex SL is obviously normative references, terms and definitions, context of the organisation, leadership, planning, support, operation, performance evaluation, and improvement. What's Annex SL, you say? That is the template, if you like, and I've highlighted them here in pink so you can see them. That's the template for the international standards for quality, safety, environment, information security now. And when we actually just do me a favour, take a step back. Do you want to pull that up for everybody, Jack? Take a step back. Jack's just going to make this really big for you so you guys can see it. It's Wikipedia. So we just jumped on Wikipedia, so we're not breaching any copyright and showing things we can't show. This is on the internet. It's the Wikipedia page for Annex SL. It's ISO's format now for the business improvement standards, the business improvement self-evaluation system standards. They're not standards about writing policies and procedures. They're business self-improvement system standards. And so if we want to improve ourselves, then what do we need to do? We need to know how we're going. And so there's a monitoring and measurement section. There is an improvement section. There's a performance, the title is performance evaluation that covers monitoring and measurement and management review. There's a planning section, there's a leadership section. So when we talk about leadership, planning, improvement, and performance evaluation, we're talking about 4 sections out of the majority, 6 sections of a standard, if you like. So at least, and I would argue more, but at least 40% of all of the ISO standards are focused at the performance improvement part of your organisation, not the control how we're going, if that makes sense. And we get too caught up in controls, work method statements, risk assessments, all that sort of stuff. And I get that. So when we're talking about X Factor today, I really want to draw your attention and focus your priority for 2019 on your strategy, your business improvement strategy. Now, I appreciate it's tough for some of us, and definitely the majority of our audience, to talk to the senior leadership of organisations. And I get that. However, what I want to start to talk about, and I really want you guys to start to push the agenda, is that strategic planning is the critical component, the high-level strategic risk management of the organisation, the opportunity management of the organisation, the management of strengths of the organisation, the management of weaknesses of the organisation. And I just said SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. ISO is all about that because it talks, the first section, after context, after we identify the organisation, and this is the part of the organisation that it applies to, the first thing is leadership. It's not saying, for the bulk of the administrative person that looks after management, it says leadership. And so the first thing is about getting straight on why the organisation exists, what's the organisation passionate about. Those sentences, like best practice. Best practice is an organisation. If you are someone who's passionate about improvement, you're someone who's passionate about, looking at the strategic growth of the organisation, scaling an organisation, improving safety outcomes, improving environmental outcomes, like amazing 5-star Google reviews everywhere, a raving set of fans of the organisation. That's the sustainable growth of the organisation and its sustained future, if you like, growth way out into the future with long-reaching, legacy of the work that you're doing. If you're someone and you choose to invest your time and energy with best practice and choose to invest your money with best practice, we guarantee to partner with you on your business improvement journey and do everything that we possibly can. Develop ourselves, improve our influence, all that sort of stuff. So that was my little elevator pitch, if you like. What's yours? And so when we start to think about that, it talks about leadership. It talks about planning. And then it says how we're going to support that. Then we're going to go away and do stuff. And then we're going to have performance evaluation and improvement. Now, what I think, in my personal opinion, it's time for ISO to actually improve this and do the job properly. We've got to start with evaluation. We talk about the plan, do, check, act cycle. It starts with doing. Every entrepreneur that started, every organisation was started by an entrepreneur at the end of the day. Whether they were an employee that's an entrepreneur that started a business unit, or every other organisation got started by an entrepreneur, and it started by just getting in and doing. Like doing and grinding. Then we started making mistakes, and we went, well, that didn't go well. And there's that famous quote for Thomas Edison, every time you make a mistake, you just found another way that doesn't work. So it's about perfect practice makes perfect, and trying and testing. And then we go, okay, we check on ourselves. How'd we go? We're not going very well. Okay, let's improve, make a bit of a plan, change how we're going to do things and start to improve and develop controls and processes to improve. So the place that I want you to start is right here with what I'm talking about up here is with management review. And it's this question, and you might have heard me say this before, and I'm going to keep saying it. In 2019, you're going to hear this a lot. In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? And in thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? And then the final question is, now you're thinking about that stuff, right? What do you think? What is it that you think that success looks like? What are the goals for you? What are the targets for you? What are the objectives for you? And what could go wrong? So, what are you doing about that? And that's management review, and that's where we start. And so, when we're out to best practice, we do our ISO assessments and our audits and all that sort of crazy stuff. We call them a best practice assessment very deliberately, not an audit. Like the word audit here at best practice is banned, but I appreciate, registrars and certification companies do audits, but here at best practice, it sends the wrong philosophy out to your organisation, to your team, that there's an auditor coming. It's about doing a best practice assessment and helping you guys to understand and grow on these concepts. It's about understanding, in thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? And so, we go to ISO and we say, what should we do for management review? And often organisations fall into the trap of writing a management review agenda that follows exactly the points in the standard, and then we have a bit of a meeting and we write a form and we say, right, we've done our management review, send that to the auditors, they'll tick us off. But it's not correct, because your organisation is already doing strategic planning. Now, some organisations, small micro-organisations, do their strategic planning on a Friday afternoon with a beer while the director sits back and goes, oh my God, that was a crazy week. But for you guys in organisations, there's strategic planning happening all the time. They're setting budgets, they're reviewing, you're looking at tasks, you're looking at reports, you've got boards, all those sorts of things. That's management review. And it's about identifying that and starting to send these messages from your organisation. If you're a systems manager, you're the funnel for those messages. Go and ask your team, what does success look like for you? Start grabbing those things, consolidating them, feeding them up to management, if that's your process, if you're in a very large organisation. And then thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? So what might tell us what could go wrong is what went wrong. So we can think about the last 12 weeks, what went wrong. Why am I saying 12 weeks? Because 12 weeks is a quarter. Because large organisations, corporate organisations, run in quarterly structures. Doesn't matter what economy you're in, where you're in the world, the larger the organisation, the more likely you are to be running in a quarter. So I'm going to constantly argue and thump the desk and say that I want you guys to be doing management reviews on a quarterly basis. Now, I tell you what happens. If you're a competitive person, if you're doing management review on an annual basis and you're competing with another organisation that's doing management review on a quarterly basis, who's going to win? It's going to be the organisation that does the most practice. It's the team that does the most practice. So if you're practicing all these things more often, you're going to get better faster. And that's what I want for you guys. I want to see success. I want to hear what you guys are doing, and I want you to be thinking about that. So less intense, more often is going to get better outcomes. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I can go into the facts and figures and psychological reports and Harvard University studies about it. But let's just, it's a webinar. I've got an hour. Jack's giving me the wind up. Let's just think about that. Just accept that quarterly is my view. It's my benchmark. And at least I'm dragging you away from the concept that management review might be annually. And you can minimize it. Like if you think, I can't take a whole day to do management review. Okay, well, think about it like an investment, And for you guys working in organizations, this is your time to work. We talk about entrepreneurs, you hear it all the time, like small business owners. You need to work on the business, not in the business. Well, this is your opportunity as a systems manager. This is your opportunity as a leader of your team. If you're a systems manager and you're not the entrepreneur, this is your opportunity to start to look at what we can do and work on your business, your little strategy. So what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to show you what that looks like. And something that I prepared earlier, and here's our surprise, is you guys have got a little view. How's that, Jack? This is a bit of an experiment for us, is my desk right here, is to show you guys. It's looking at this quarter. The US financial system and the Australian financial system obviously slightly different, but we've got Q1 here. How's that, Jack? All working? And then we've got Q2, and then Q3, and then Q4. And so it's this strategic management cycle that comes out of the part of the standard around improvement. Like specifically if you want the clause, it's clause 9, it's typically 9.3 in any of the ISO standards, and that is that management review cycle. And this is where I want you to think about starting in thinking. So every 12 weeks, this is 12, this is 12, this is 12, and this is 12. And it gives you flexibility, right? There's not 48 weeks in the year, there's 52, so it probably should be 13. I'm a little bit superstitious, so I'm not going to write 13 down here. But it's thinking about that. It's okay, it's dividing up our year, and it's actually starting to think about this process. Okay, what are the things that go into these quarterly sessions? What comes out of it? We're going to have a whole bunch of tasks and a whole bunch of projects that we might look at monthly. And so we've got these monthly increments, and there's our year. Okay? I want you guys to really be thinking about that, and then we can minimize the intensity and we can maximize the outcome, if you like. We're taking the opportunity to stop, take stock of what we're doing, and start to refocus on what we're doing. Okay, thank you, Jack. Let's move on. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Hello, Sean, over in New York. Hello, guys. Everyone watching from Sydney. Let me know where you're watching one. Sean, who is over in Long Island in New York. I just want to let you know that we've been talking this morning about how we can run some webinars for you that are maybe the middle of the day, the middle of the business day. So we've been talking about time zones. So for those of you here in Sydney, we're going to keep running the webinars at about this time. If this time works for you, comment beside. So when we're looking at 2019, but we're thinking around running a second series of webinars. So when we have a webinar day, we'll run a webinar at sort of 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. Sydney time, which will be the middle of the day in the US. And then we will actually then do this time. We'll do this normal time for the Sydney Australians, like Southern Hemisphere people. So Sean, we're looking, at a time that sort of sits, or maybe it's Central Time, so that you guys, if it's in your business day. So thanks for watching from Long Island, Sean. And yes, I agree. Yes, that would be great. So so I'm going to bring my team in early, and we're going to do, we'll probably start doing 2 webinars a day, and that'll help you guys, because our team is growing in the US, and the work that we're doing over there stateside for you guys. Okay, so back to strategic management review. That's the place to ask questions, Sean. If you've got any questions, or anyone watching right now, and you're able to comment below. For those of you who can't comment in future for these webinars, get yourself a free Gmail account. Sign into Gmail, and then that'll allow you to comment if you can't already comment. Now, if you can't sign in, the other place to comment is, I forgot to mention it, is the live chat on our website. So bestpracticecertification.com.au, and a little live chat window pops up, and you can comment and say hello. And we've got a couple of people here in Sydney who are sitting there. They're outside our studio. I can see them out there. So if you can't comment there, send them a message now and freak them out and say, hey, what's going on with the webinar? So so you can have a bit of fun. But there's 2 lovely ladies outside in the office, Vanessa and Rigdon, managing the live chat. I'm getting the wind up again from Jack. Okay, in thinking about the last 12 weeks, what went wrong? And so one of the, it might be the red stuff here. and we're saying, what went wrong? What was it? And then we can say, okay, well, let's not let that happen again. That didn't go well. And so, what went wrong? There's an N in there. I apologise, my text is a little bit worn out from my son colouring in. But I want you to think about, what went wrong? How does that feed in? Now, even if you can't do anything about it, even if it's like, what, that was just came from left field and there's no way that we could sort of, anticipate that was going to happen. At least if we ask the question, what went wrong, it will give your team the opportunity to vent. It'll give them the opportunity to feel heard. And so if the more that you as a central person that's, you're inspired to develop yourself and improve the organisation, that's why you watch this video and you got this far and you put up with the sound of my voice and all this crazy stuff we do here at Best Practice, I want you to be thinking about that stuff and think, okay, well, what went wrong? Consulting with your team, asking the question, just go and say, hey, in thinking about the last 12 weeks, what went wrong? And I have very carefully chosen the words in this sentence up here. So if you can do a quick screenshot or write this question down, but it's very deliberate, the words are very deliberately chosen to actually trigger the person's subconscious to actually be thinking positively and saying, in thinking about the last 12 weeks, what went wrong? And then what can we improve? And it's really improvement focused, it's forward focused, and it's starting to actually say these are the things that we can start to do, and we can define those. So you might not get great results in the first instance, but the more you start asking those questions, the more people are going to think about it, because they're going to know that you're going to come and ask them, and they're going to get the opportunity to tell you, they're going to feel good about it, and then you back it up with, and so, what are you doing about that? And they might say, well, what I'm doing about it is I'm telling you. Fantastic. Or they're empowered to actually provide solutions. What are you doing about that? What solutions do you see that we could use? And you can start to consider that, and that's what this management review is all about. I guess the question does come up a lot. Who should be involved in management review? Depending on how sensitive information is within the organisation, I think anyone in the organisation can be involved in management review. And the word I would be looking for is key influencers. Choosing key influencers in the organisation to be involved in this process, to be asking them the question, what does success look like? They will feel heard, and they will communicate. I've been able to communicate what success looks like. I'm influencing the goals and objectives and performance and growth of the organisation. I've been able to communicate and feel heard on the things that went wrong and what I believe are some solutions, not just whinge about, not just complain about what went wrong, it's about solutions focus. And I think that's probably the disclaimer I'll say, is that in thinking about, the last 12 weeks, what went wrong, and what can we improve? It's solutions focused. It's not just the opportunity for everyone to vent and complain and everyone's going to feel negative, that sort of stuff. It's about what can we do to improve. We want to have amazing outcomes. That's what we're really, really passionate about. And most importantly is that question. So in here, in this part here, we're talking about what are we doing about that? Okay, so it's important that these become our projects, if you like, and we're starting to identify our improvements, and you can use the improvements part of the standard for that. Okay, thanks, Jack. Okay, so I want to just quickly talk about how to manage improvement opportunities. And I want to come back, I said I would talk about Annex SL. How do we manage improvement opportunities? So I'm just going to quickly jump to my headings here, and I just want to talk about, it's my belief that there's a flow, if you like. If we wanted to do a quick process flow of the standard, the first, obviously, step is planning. Is that big enough? Everyone can see that. And if the standard was a process flow, plan would be section 6. Now we need, obviously it talks about section 5, talks about leadership. Now often when you guys are starting, you're in the fog, someone's told you to sort of get a hold of 9001 or a management system standard. Leadership's already defined. So like leadership is section 5. Then we talk about planning. Then we talk about support. And support is 7. And this is the process flow. So we build the plan, then we get our resources together. So support's obviously talking about resources, which is people, infrastructure, it's budgets and it's resources and tools and techniques and all that sort of great stuff. So that's support. Like this is our stuff. Here at Best Practice, it's all the systems, the process computers, the office, the licenses, the accreditations, the audits, the policies, procedures, the cash, the budget, the overdraft, It's everything that makes up the organisation. So the leadership said, right, let's make a plan. Let's go get the stuff, the tools, the ingredients. We're making an amazing chocolate cake. We go and get the ingredients, and then we start mapping out, right, we've got all the ingredients that we need. Right, what's the method? You know, and I think operations, I think sometimes the operations maybe got to come before the support. Maybe this is, when we look at it this way, maybe this is where there's an opportunity for improvement with how the standards are structured. I think there's definitely a ways to go. So start thinking about, we've got leadership, we've got our leadership team, we've got our leadership saying, right, let's make a plan. I think, often the plan doesn't think about the method. So let's maybe, when we're doing our planning, start asking, well, what's the method going to be? Because then we can go get our ingredients, we know how much ingredients we need, all of the resources of the organisation, then we can start mapping out the operation. Now, operation is obviously, part of the planning. We did a risk, we're starting to look at risks plus opportunities. I was going to write ops. We're starting to think about risks and opportunities. And over here, we're talking about methods, and importantly, we're talking about controls. We want to minimize anything that can go wrong, and we want to implement methods to achieve our successes. So in thinking about, the next 12 weeks, what could go, what does success look like? So down here we're saying, well, we need this stuff, we need these methods, we will achieve it. We can plan out and best guess at achieving success. And then after operation, then we're starting to look at performance evaluation. I'm just going to write performance. I really want you guys to be thinking about high performance organisations. That's what I'm really, really passionate about. It's about using these systems to have high performance, efficient, effective, fast, strong, robust, able to be dynamic, all those sorts of things. It's not about, slowing down and being bureaucratic, if that makes sense. And so we do our performance evaluation, and that is all of our graphs. That's our dashboard, our performance over time. It's like doing all of our graphs and, tracking how we're going. We want to minimize things. It's all those little graphs. This is our dashboard. For really small, simple organizations, don't overcomplicate this. It's just like, right, what are the numbers that we need to track? What's our marketing number, our sales number, our finance number, our operations number, our HR number? Keep it really simple, really simple. Performance evaluation, and then the last thing down here is improvement. And really, I think where people often get lost in this little flowchart that we do with improvement is they sort of get lost. Like, well, what is it that we're doing? Well, actually, you're updating your plan. There's our cycle of continual improvement. I said, we can take a look at Annex SL and we can start to say, well, we do a plan, we do our support, we do our operation, then we start to monitor how we're going and we improve all that. And that's your cycle, if you like, of continual improvement, which is do, check, act, plan. It's that PDCA cycle that we've been hearing about for so long, really simplified. But for me, it's often organisations, we're racing off and we're trying to, everybody's passionate, trying to do the right thing, and we're tweaking this sort of stuff, and it's actually having the evaluation system. Like, take the time to video yourself. How you're going. I watch back all of our videos and we look at opportunities for improvement. That's why we're doing this today. We thought, what? Let's set up 2 cameras. Last webinar I drew on the wall. There's text all over the wall here on the side of the studio. We thought, what? Let's actually change this up a gear so you can see what I'm doing. You can see my notes. So here's my text up. Look at that, 2 places on the camera. Okay, so that's Annex SL from a process flow perspective, and I really want you to be thinking about that in thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? What's our plan? What's our support? What's our methods and controls? How are we going to monitor and measure ourselves? And what are we going to do to actually identify the opportunities for improvement and how to manage them? And this becomes who, what, when, where, how. And this is how to manage our opportunities for improvement. It's a plan. It's an improvement plan or a strategy. I like to call it a strategy. So it's a strategy. And it's our annual strategy. And I said I would start to improve things. I've recently started, I've been saying business plan, but I guess I'm seeing better response from people when I say annual. What's your annual strategy? What's going to be your strategy for 2019? What is it that we're going to do in terms of support? What are the small tweaks that we're going to keep making on this quarterly basis? Keep going through this cycle on a quarterly basis, every 12 weeks. The more you do it, the better you'll get, the faster you'll do it, the simpler it'll be, the easier it'll be. The more content you watch, the more improvements, the more that you step back and work on your team. Take the time to work on your little area of authority, your part of your business with your team, your people. Every time you take an opportunity to take a clarity break, and there's a couple of people that I'm specifically thinking about, I won't name names, but I see you get very busy. I see you get all caught up in everything that you're doing, but taking that opportunity, you are HSEQ leaders in businesses, you are general managers in operations, you are people trying to figure out the fog, you are support people in terms of building these systems. When you take a clarity break to read the books that I recommend or start to do these webinars, I need you to also take time out with your notebook, with some Dane's coffee if you like. Get a coffee, get a tea, and sit and take a half day to actually get a clarity break and actually look at, all right, what should I be managing? Do some investigation, look at the numbers, how are things going, how did we go, what's happening? Not prepare reports, not do process work. It's about working on your little area of authority. The more you take that opportunity to get that little clarity break and actually just get clear on what's going on, the more effective you're going to be. It's going to pay huge dividends. If we're not thinking, we're just turning up every day to do our process, to do our work, then we're just going to get stuck and bogged down in what's going on. So it's about getting that clarity break. So there's our how to manage opportunities, really high level crash course. Thank you, Jack. We can move on. Okay. What I guess I wanted to talk about, and the question has been coming up a lot, is how to get started. And I guess that if we thought about, how's that camera going? If we thought about how to get started, we can really think about also when we go back to that self-evaluation cycle. So I'll just predicate it over here. I'll just put our little quarterly. We're managing our business in quarters. And what's happening? And really this is probably where what I've got here on the slide for you is what I think is the management review agenda that I would run. And because we're doing it quarterly, we can move in and out of these things. Like you want to have the outcome so that you can comply with the standard, I guess, and you want to be mindful of your agenda and the inputs. But I think taking the clarity break with your team, my team here, the whole leadership team here at Best Practice, or our key influencers, if you like, we go off-site once every 12 weeks to work on our business, and everybody gets the opportunity to get in, roll their sleeves up, and work on the business. So what does that look like? It looks like a SWOT analysis. So we're doing our SWOT. Let me just think about how I'm going to lay this out for you guys. We're doing our SWOT, and our SWOT's identifying our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we're saying, what do we do about that? And what are you guys doing about that? Listen to the tone in my voice. And what are you guys doing about that? And that's what I want you to be thinking. Maybe I'm speaking too quickly. And what are you doing about that? And let's do our strengths. And what are you doing about that? Weaknesses. And what are you doing about that? And opportunities. And what are you doing about that? And threats. And the tone in my voice, I know, I can feel it right now. It's making you guys think. And I want to teach you that. That's the sort of thing that I want. You guys are the systems managers. You're the general managers. You're the leaders. It's taking these concepts as much as how to do it and the strategy that I'm showing you. I also want you to just be mindful of this technique that I'm using to actually help you to think about that. So we do our SWOT. When we do our stakeholder analysis, and we consider our stakeholders, it adds some more context, and there might be this little feedback loop that actually starts to contribute to an increased or improved SWOT analysis. So we look at our stakeholders. What do they want? Now, obviously, a key stakeholder in quality system is your customer or your client. But what about your regulators? What about your environmental controls, your workplace health and safety people, your information security people, your bank, your shareholders, your staff, all that sort of stuff? What do they want? What are they interested in? And in ISO 14001, it used to talk about interested parties. You know, it might still talk about interested parties analysis. So it starts to inform that we've got some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But it also starts to say, well, what are our KPIs? You know, what should we measure? What's the service level agreement with our key stakeholders? What are the key KPIs for our key stakeholders? And that's where we're starting to say, well, what do we do about that? And we can start to actually map out, okay, who needs to do what. So part of this management review process is really to be looking at SWOT, stakeholders, and KPIs. Now, I'll give you just a little bit of a tip here. You can spin out your SWOT analysis into a risk register. And it should. Risk register. And that could be a spreadsheet. You know, it's got, you know, the issue, you know, the level, you know, the controls, you know, the references, whatever that might be. And that can be like a spreadsheet, if you like. But that's what it is. It's like, what are our opportunities? Like, you know, all this is about as much as what positive things we can do as what negative things we're trying to manage and control and not let things go wrong. So once we've got that, now I think that the other thing that I noticed, particularly for you guys that are specifically health, safety, environment, quality managers or safety managers, I think we often forget that we need to actually be mindful of the whole organisation. And then we start to think about, we talked about who, what, when, where, how, but we've got to be mindful of the whole business, if you like. And I appreciate that every business is a little bit unique. I look at 1,000 companies, you know, we have 1,000 companies that we work with here. It's actually more than that now, best practice, but let's just call it 1,000. I think it's getting close to 1,200. I said 1,100 yesterday. I got corrected, it's like 1,200. That's okay, but we've on any given day here at Best Practice, we've got technical people out with, you know, 20 companies. We've got you guys interacting with us. We've got people, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50 people a day downloading new, fresh content from our training academy. And I look at that and I actually see it's pretty common. Like from where I sit, I actually see it's pretty common. And we've all got marketing because we're all trying to find and make noise. So we've all got marketing, we all got sales or business development. We've all got finance. We've all got like operations, like, you know, technical type people in our organizations. We've all got HR. And as we start to think about, you know, what our stakeholders over here, we all contribute to the ultimate measure of success of the organisation. The organisation's clients and customers, the organisation's stakeholders from a workplace health and safety perspective, an environmental perspective, information security. I keep saying those things because those are sort of risk areas that we specialise in. But we start to have, you know, I guess we've got KPIs, which is like going to measure our performance, and this becomes our risk management, if you want to use that terminology. You know, who, what, when, where, how, in those teams, in our organisation, are going to manage and control our risks. We come back to our quarterly management, you know, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. We come back to our management review cycle and we start to improve how we're managing risk. And that's really your X factor. That's really just, I just wanted to give it to you. I didn't want to sit here and say like how to write a procedure, how to write controls. Like I can do that for you. If you want how to write a procedure, how to identify, you know, we did process mapping in the last webinar. We can do more of that. So we can start to talk about that for you guys. But I really want you to think about it. You can, if you want to know how to write a procedure or a policy or how to do something, just write who's going to do it, what are they going to do, when are they going to do it, where are they going to do it, and how are they going to do it. If you wanted to format that, you know, what that document looks like. You know, it's got your logo here, you know, with whatever great stuff's going on. You know, keep it really simple with your document control, and then you just got who, what, when, where, how, and maybe the KPI, the ultimate measure of success. And that's, you know, that's what it looks like. Keep it really simple. Can you do it on a video? If you can do it on a video, that's even better. So start to think about that stuff. I just lost my texter on the floor. Excuse me. Okay, so how are we on for time? 10 minutes. Okay, so what we're talking about in this next slide is this piece here. This piece here. How to centralize your dashboard. And really, I learned a terminology. I learned some terminology a few years ago. I guess I've been saying for well over 20 years. Do you have a clear picture of your organisation's performance. We did the SWOT, we did the stakeholder analysis, we looked at all that stuff that we just talked about. We did this process. We did our SWOT, we did our stakeholders, we identified our KPIs. So my question to you is, if my question is organisation's performance, which is here, then my question to you is, what's your organisation made up of? And then to centralise your service level agreement, what are the service level agreements, if you want to use that term, of, what are each of the service level agreements, and I'll come back to the terminology I learned, of marketing, sales, finance, operations, and HR. Really simple. CEO sits up here, you've got key vice presidents, presidents, directors, managing directors of your organisation. And from my perspective, one number. For each of those, one thing to track. Keep it really simple. Try and refine it. You'll never get it right first go. Keep doing it on a quarterly basis. These teams can have all their KPIs. You can have as many as you want in your teams. But if we're talking about a quality system, what we're talking about is Net Promoter Score. If you're talking about ISO 9001, I think right now, as an organisation, Google reviews, 5-star Google reviews. I know you might be in some sort of complicated, complex military installation, but what would it take to get your customer to give you a 5-star Google review? That they are so proud of you, so excited, so grateful for the amazing services that you provide, that they will step out of their government role from behind their government desk and click 5-star Google review. And that is how trust is being measured into the future. That is how performance is being measured. I want you guys to appreciate, start thinking about, right, in 5 years' time, look around you in your organisation right now. In 5 years' time, who will be the managers and decision makers? Will it be the same people? Or will it be people that, if the average age is 35 or 40 or 45 or 25, if the average age in 5 years' time, that average age will still probably be the same. So people right now that are 5 years or 10 years younger, what do they use to be influenced? What do they use to make decisions? What do they use to do their due diligence from a procurement perspective on their suppliers? And I can honestly say they're starting to look at transparency on the internet, and so we need to be mindful. And that's why I'm saying Net Promoter Score is so important. 5-star Google review, Facebook likes, Instagram likes, social media likes. Because there are generations now that's the ecosystem that they live within, and that's how they do their due diligence. And we need to be mindful. The good thing is you're getting my advice really early, and you've got an opportunity to get on. If it's not there already, you've got time. Time to start practicing, it's time to start promoting, time to start getting on top of it, and start thinking about that. But from a quality ISO 9001, how does marketing help with Net Promoter Score? How does sales help with Net Promoter Score? What does finance do for Net Promoter Score in their interaction with stakeholders? What does all of your production, service, operations people, what do they do to help Net Promoter Score? What does HR do to help Net Promoter Score, if you like? And we can start to say, well, we've got this one number. What's the KPI? Because the ultimate objective is to meet our customer expectation, satisfy our customer, excite our customer, inspire our customer. You hear us talk about here at Best Practice, inspiring customer confidence. This is it on paper. Best webinar so far, I think, in my opinion. I'm having a great time because I'm able to convey a really simple message, how this all sort of links together. So centralizing your dashboard is keeping it really simple. I know I've done it on butcher's paper. If you felt inclined to do it, just once a month, get some of this great butcher's paper, get some of these great texters, and just write the number and stick it on the wall. This stuff's sticky. You can pop it up on the wall. But I want you to be thinking about that. Then you can dig down. You might have hundreds of little graphs and KPIs. But what's the service level agreement of each of these key teams in the business, of each of these key processes? to ultimately satisfy your customer, to ultimately support workplace health and safety outcomes, to ultimately support your environmental sustainability or your information security, or ultimately support any type of risk, financial risk, if you like, that you're trying to manage. Okay, thank you, Jack. Okay, objectives and targets, really simple. Do a graph. Where do you want to be? I want to be right there. That's where I want to be. Like, it's really simple. The more that you can graph, you know, performance over time. So this is our performance. This is time. And this is performance. And here we go. That's our forecast, if you like. But our target, we want to be above this level. Like, this is our lower control limit. Lower control limit. For example, if it's that type of statistic, don't go too far above here because we're over-servicing the customer or it's too expensive to be up there. But this is where we want to position our brand, position ourselves on any type of objective and target. Now there's a few others, and I'll just quickly write them on here because it's a blank page. So this is like a performance objective and target, if you like, and we can put it across each KPI, each part of the business. But what about something like all staff shall be inducted? You know, we want to conduct inductions with new staff when they start, so we say all staff shall be inducted. Now you can actually measure that because you can have it as, you know, here's 100%, and you can actually track it as a bar chart. Actually, this month only 50% inducted. You know, and then you actually train those people, and you can track it, and you can say, well, 100% is our target. Or it can be a subjective thing, yes, all staff. You know, it can be a management review report that says yes, all staff are inducted. So you know, all sales leads are called, all things are quoted, all defects are inspected, all inspection and test plans are completed. They're management objectives, if you like. And you can start to think about, well, how would we graph that? So a piece of homework for you, I may have told you to do this homework before. Get some paper like this and draw for me 50, because you've got 5 sections, 10 per section. We've got 5 sections here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 performance over time graphs on butcher's paper. Don't go and race off and do it on a spreadsheet yet. Just do it on some butcher's paper and say, look, what would be one main thing we can measure from a marketing perspective? One main thing sales, one finance, one ops, one HR. HR is where you know, and for those, look, I appreciate some of you guys are health and safety and environment people. You could start to place those within these sections of the business, which I think is the best place to do it. What's our environmental in marketing? What's environmental in sales? What's our environmental in finance, ops, HR? What's safety in marketing? Safety in sales, safety in finance, ops, HR. And so I'm saying do 10, because I'm saying do 50. It's 10x over here, 10x over here, 10 here, 10 here, 10 here. Because I think I've observed, and certainly a couple of you people that are watching, and I know you're watching, is that your challenge is that how do I get safety outcomes and safety attention and priority into those other parts of the business and have senior leadership team members actually engaged in workplace health and safety. Okay, throw a safety objective into marketing, throw an environmental one in there and see how they go. So what I'd like to see, what does success look like? Your homework is I want you to be thinking about, it's 10, so it's, let's do something like this. Like this. What do we got? There we go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Marketing. And they're going to be graphs. And that starts to be your dashboard. Sales. Ops. Sorry, finance. I'll move finance. Sorry, I apologise. Finance, HR, if you like. Whatever your key sections of your business are at a high level. There we go. Just do it like this on butcher's paper. And just start, actually get something really small like a pen, and start to say, okay, this is your clarity break. Okay, as we start to design what this looks like, there's our 50. There's our dashboard. And we can get a little sharp pen and we can start to say, okay, well in operations, I think it's like defects. It's like customers. Little graphs, whatever the graphs look like. They can be bar charts. And they can be like, and you can do them different colors if you like. Like that, if that makes sense. So 50, this is your homework. 50 graphs. I want you to have a think about that for me. Just look, you don't need to do anything else except think. It's about, one of my university lecturers said to me 20 years ago, demonstrate to me you've been through the thought process. Because it's actually that thinking, that incubation and working on what you're doing that's going to give you the great outcomes, and that's thinking about those concepts. But that's really thinking about it. It's where I got the idea for the logo from best practice, because I keep saying, I've been saying it for 20 years, 50 performance over time graphs. I want you guys to think about that. That's integrating your dashboard. In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? In thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? It goes south. We've got a few things going south. That could go wrong. We tried as hard to manage it, but it went pear-shaped. And we start to have alerts go off. You've got your little alert. We've got an issue here, we've got an issue here, we've got an issue here. And thinking about the next 12 weeks, as we start to identify our KPIs, our service level agreements, what does success look like? And thinking about the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? Okay. Can you talk a bit about why not you recommend on using templates for implementing quality information health safety management system? Yes, Sunny Spot 2011, I'll do that. And Hugh, do you have any recommendations how to encourage Google reviews, email prompts, or do you ask them to have feedback forms? Okay, let's talk about the first one. The first thing is in terms of templates. If you are a consultant and you have a boilerplate or a set of templates that you help clients with, I think that's okay, but I am concerned that I have fallen into the trap of spending a lot of time writing up systems and processes and templates and putting them forward instead of actually taking people through this process. Look, you can have templates, I get that, but don't do that first. Does that make sense? Sunny Spot 2011? Like, the templates are fine, but they are all about this. They're all about the strategic management cycle. So it's important that with those templates, they are capturing the evidence, capturing that you've been through the thought process, if you like, as we go through this management review cycle. Does that make sense? So I just want you to think about, the templates are great because they're like something we pull out of the toolkit and we can say, yes, we've got the tools, and we've got, when we pull out and do our SWOT, a template for a SWOT. Because I think that, all organisations have a slightly different, more unique culture. Okay, great. Yes. All organisations have a slightly different culture. They have a different culture, they have different groups of people, different mindsets. And they will, you can provide the template for them, and you can say, here's something to customize and make suit yourself, provided that it's efficient and effective. But I think I would prefer that people spent more time on doing a SWOT, stakeholder analysis, KPIs, dashboard, and doing it like this. Like, this is my template, but I don't pick it up from somewhere. I handwrite it and I approve it every time as I do this. And then it can be handed off to somebody who is beautiful at desktop publishing. This is the sort of the bonus tip, if you like, that I've been challenged by my whole career is and I was having a great discussion last night with Marina. She said, well, why do you have an adversity to Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel? The 5-star package in this office here at Best Practice is InDesign, Adobe InDesign. If you want to produce beautiful documents that staff are more likely and willing to absorb and feel good and inspired when they're reading them, then InDesign's the place to be working. And so, I talked about, templates. We might sort of divert to Microsoft Word. It's got 1,000 features, but it's also a little bit limited in what it can do. And so, there's a reason why I use color. There's a reason why I use audio visual, because I can more effectively convey my language. I am not a copywriter. Like, I am pretty good on the keyboard in terms of actually conveying what I want to say and pretty influential, but I am more influential in this audio visual format. You've got my body language. I have a very, I have a very charismatic face and facial expressions, which makes me a good presenter. And I know that that's my strength. And so in terms of conveying what this is all about, this whole thing is all about having humans replicate behavior to successful outcomes that we'll measure on a dashboard. And we want to be thinking about how we actually disseminate our information, and we want to set ourselves up for the best success for our audience to absorb that message and act on it in a way that we plan, if that makes sense. And so I really want you to be thinking about, as we're producing these systems and the templates, for example, I really want you to be thinking about what is the way that will most successfully articulate, communicate, and enable digestion of our message. Like food, for example, food with babies. We've got to mince it up so it's absolute mush when they're starting to take solids. And so we with food, although it, as for us as adults, it's not tasty, it's bland, and it's like slop. But for a baby, it's amazing because it's prepared in a way that it is the most simplest way for them to ingest it and digest it. And then as adults, we start to think about how our food is prepared, how it's cooked, and different people, different methods of cooking, and enabling the most effective way to ingest it and digest it. And our information in our management systems is no different. But we do make our lives individually easy for ourselves by producing it, if that makes sense. And so we need to be really, really mindful when we're producing any of this information. What's the way that we can give this information to our audience, our people, our staff, the people in our businesses, so it's most easily and simply ingested, digested, and they will act on it in the way that we plan. Now, I guarantee, absolute guarantee, that's going to make your job harder, and it's going to sound like a lot of work, but when we put in the work, we get the results. When we put in the work, we get the results. And for me, these webinars, they're a lot of work. I've got 2 other people here, shout out to them for helping me in this room. I've got my marketing team out there, but I want you guys to have a successful outcome. And I can write blog posts, but I know that when I convey very passionately to you guys, that I will have I will set myself up for more success, which is to have you guys actually grow and improve in what you're doing. And that's why we put so much work in here to get a successful outcome. So I want you to sort of take these principles, go, right, how can I do this? Can I help someone with a policy and procedure? This is being recorded. You can come back and watch this over and over, fast forward, rewind, pause, play, share, do all that sort of stuff. So that people, if you've thought about anybody in this webinar that you're like, oh, I wish they heard that message, then give us 15 to 20 minutes after this event finishes, and the recording will be up on the YouTube channel. You can copy the link, you can share it with your colleagues, tell them a specific point in time on the bar on the bottom of the screen, say a specific point in time that you want them to watch because you want them to hear that message. If you felt this was easily digested and easily articulated what I'm saying. So I want you to think about in your organization, can you use secret videos on a YouTube platform to convey internal messages and communication? Can you use a private secret Facebook group with posts, videos and pictures as your way of communicating your methods, your policies, your procedures, work instructions? Have we got any questions from anybody? Okay, one on, okay, I've talked to that one. Hugh, recommendations for getting Google reviews. Dude, I think you just got to ask. And that's what we do. In fact, actually, if you guys liked this webinar, I'd love you to go and find bestpracticecertification.com.au, do a Google search, and I'd love it if you could jump on our Google page and give us a 5-star review. That would be absolutely fantastic. That would be very amazing for me. It helps with our SEO. So when people are searching and trying to find out how to actually clear the fog and how to improve their management systems and what do I need to do, I don't understand ISO, when you guys give us a Google review, that helps us to get further up organically in a Google search. That means that we can help more people. I'm really inspired to be helping everybody on this amazing planet with improvement. I'm really passionate about improving safety outcomes, improving environmental outcomes, quality outcomes. I'm really passionate about amazing customer service. And that's what this is all about. This is why I talk about this sort of stuff. Okay, so over here on the Training Academy, I just want you to check that out. There's an opportunity. If you're really passionate about everything I've talked about, you want more detail, that's a little bit longer, very detailed in terms of going through the standards. If you invest some time and money in those courses, I guarantee that I'm going to help you on that partnership. You can comment, we can get involved. If you want a face-to-face workshop, if you want to do this style of stuff with your team, our team at Next Practice can help you. And if you want to reach out to me personally, I can talk you through what's involved. No hard sell. You know me, you trust me now, you've got tons of great content. But if you want one of our team to come on site, if you want me to come on site and talk to you, we can run workshops, all these activities that I talked about today on this butcher's paper, we do those activities, we train you on how to do this sort of stuff and coach you through and support you like a personal trainer at the gym. We take you through. I'm absolutely passionate about empowering you to be able to do it yourself. But if you still feel foggy and you just want one of our team members to come through for a couple of days, do a workshop with you, a couple of workshops with you, and teach you how to do all this sort of stuff, and then maybe support you on a quarterly basis. If you'd like one of our great team to facilitate your quarterly management review, then we can come on site and do that anywhere in the world. We can do it anywhere in the world. We can do it either via Skype, so we save travel costs, or we can come on site with you and we can help your team. So we've got people in the US, we've got people here in Australia, and we can meet each other around the world. We've got people in the UK, so if you need some assistance, people up in Europe actually now. So if you need some assistance, you want us to come on site and help you with any of this stuff to educate you and empower you and facilitate what's happening, give you guidance, keep you on track, then just hit me up. So you can find me on LinkedIn, is a great place to find me. Make sure if you liked this video, just smash that like button. Copy the link and share it with anybody in your organisation. I'd really love to see more of you guys sharing this sort of stuff. And if you need me in this format to tell your team what to do, then share that message so I can do that. It's all pre-recorded and we can share that around. So smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that already. And if you want to find me personally and send me a personal message, you can do it through our live chat on our website. And the live chat's right outside my office. They'll send the messages directly to me and then I can start communicating with you. Or you can find me directly on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn handle is @KobeSimat. I think my LinkedIn pushes across to Twitter. I'm not a very good Twitter user, but if you want to find me on LinkedIn or find Best Practice TV on Instagram, you can send us a direct message on Instagram. You can send us a direct message on Facebook. Send us a direct message on LinkedIn. So bestpracticeeducation.com.au right there. That's our training academy. That's where our great courses are. The new magazine's out. Is that up on the website? Not yet. Okay, so we'll try and get certified, issue the summer edition. It's all about dreaming big, holidays, goals, all that sort of great stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Everybody, some incredible positive feedback about this magazine. So it's issue 4. Thank you to Lucidity for assisting us to print the magazine. They're a sponsor, helping us. Thank you to Dane's Coffee for the coffee and the t-shirt. Thank you, Graham, for that. So let's check out the Dane's Coffee store quickly. So this coffee is amazing. The Australian Champion Coffee Roaster. Only because I'm a coffee nut am I talking about it. Not an ad. But we've got, there's the Dane's Coffee. So it's Dane's, here it comes. Thanks, Jack. So I'm going to jump on there this afternoon. There's a couple of great things there, gifts for people in my family who are coffee addicts. They've got an online store, so you can pick that up from anywhere in the world. So Marina, who's from Texas, who's here in our office, I took her into the coffee factory this morning to pick up. This is fresh from the factory this morning. I took her in there, and she was just amazed at how good it is. So if you are interested in coffee, I apologise, but that's what I'm drinking this morning. This is now cold, but I'm going to drink it anyway. Is Dane's Coffee. Check that out. So what's the website, Jack? It is Danes, DANES.com.au, and you can check out that shop, and they deliver anywhere in the world. So you're going to see Paul live. Hello, Marina. You're going to see Paul live on our Talking Business. So if you haven't checked out the Talking Business interviews on our YouTube channel, on the Best Practice TV YouTube channel, there are a whole bunch of playlists. Quality, safety, environment. There's Talking Business and interviews. In January 2019, we're going to be interviewing the guys from Dane's Coffee and talking to them about how to run a cafe, how to improve that type of small business. So there's going to be some great business advice from a small micro business perspective, and I'm going to work out how we can actually bring that out to corporate. what happens from a 5-star customer service perspective. You know, I think a lot of large corporates sort of miss the message about delivering 5-star customer service internally and externally. 5-star customer service from a safety perspective. What does 5-star customer service, workplace health and safety look like internally with our stakeholders? So we're going to be talking about, we're going to be bringing, you know, coffee here in Australia is a pretty tough marketplace. It's pretty cutthroat, and so they've got to provide stunning service. We're going to see what lessons we can learn and bring that across into this environment. So and have a bit of fun. And I'm going to go and see some different types of businesses and do some more interviews. So actually, if you guys know of an organisation that you think that I should talk to and interview for our Talking Business segment, then send us a message. Okay, thanks Faith, thanks Sean, thanks Graham, awesome. So thank you everybody. If there's no more questions, then we might call that a wrap for 2018. So Merry festive season, Merry Christmas if you're into Christmas. I hope everybody has a safe break, and from my family to yours, thank you so much for your support in 2018. It's been absolutely fantastic. We've worked really hard. We're all ready for a rest. We're all going to go to the beach. It's beach time here in Sydney, Australia. We're going to check out Manly Beach. We're going to have a great time. I went to the beach this morning for a walk. The ocean's warming up. It's absolutely fantastic. So we're going to have a great time. We're going to come back with suntan and very relaxed in the new year. I look forward to that. And so thank you, Sam. Thank you, Samantha. So thank you very much for your support in 2018. From my family to yours, very Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a safe and happy holiday. We will be available on Skeleton Staff through the break. Keep sending your questions if you've got concerns, if you're in the fog, if it's quiet in January and you're working on your projects and you've got questions, just hit that live chat or reach out to me on LinkedIn. My iPhone's never very far away from me. I'll be around. I'll be able to answer questions. And January is a really great time to get in contact with us and reach out to us. So if you need some assistance with certification, sing out, check out the online training courses. And I'm looking for coffee and lunch invites from you guys because I want to tell more stories. So thanks everybody. Thank you, Kylie. And we will see you in 2019. Dates for 2019, back page of Certified. So jump on to Best Practice Training Academy, look out for the magazine, go inside the back cover, and over here are all the dates for the next round of webinars for 2019. And I will see you all soon. Keep improving every day. Merry Christmas.